Along the border between Scotland and England, there are many a ruined castle. These can be great to explore, but I wouldn't be too quick to jump in quite yet, because these abandoned castles are where the redcaps dwell. A redcap, sometimes known as a Powrie or a Dunter, is a small, twisted, goblin-type beast. Tales tell of creatures with the appearance of withered yet sturdy old men, with sharp, claw-like hands, razor teeth, and big hooked noses. The redcaps were known to wear iron-clad boots and carry pike staffs. They infested the castles of the borders and would lay in wait to ambush weary travellers or brave explorers. They were also known to hurl rocks and boulders at any passers-by in the hope of an easy kill. Redcaps are not mischievous tricksters or troublemakers like some other goblins. They are malevolent, bloodthirsty murderers. Redcaps, despite their heavy footwear, were incredibly swift. It was not often any man could claim to have outran a redcap. If caught, then by pike staff or claws, the redcap would tear its victim asunder and feast upon the body. A grim custom of the redcap was to soak his hat in the crimson blood of its victims. It was this gory detail that led to the name Redcap. It is mentioned in many tales that the redcap will die if the blood upon its hat ever dries. Some even say the blood would fuel the creature and grant it magical powers. There are a few things, however, that would keep you safe if you are unlucky enough to find yourself face to face with a redcap. The first is to recite passages from the Christian Bible. These holy words were known to strike fear into the wicked beast's heart and send it running. The other is to brandish a crucifix in the direction of the redcap, causing it to spontaneously erupt with flames and vanish with a scream. When a redcap is killed in this manner, it leaves behind no trace apart from a single sharpened tooth. When the Pictish men built the border castles, it was said that they would sacrifice people in order to purify the castle's foundation stones. The stones were purified by covering them with fresh human blood. This dark act was thought to have cursed the castles, and the restless spirits of the sacrificed would take the form of redcaps. In Scotland, there is one famous tale of a redcap and its goblin magic. In the early 14th century, on the Scottish side of the border lived a noble known as William de Sole. William was a cruel, evil tyrant of a man, known to some as the Wizard of the North because of his close ties to the black arts. He was schooled in black magic, and it was at this time he gained a powerful ally, his familiar, Robin the Redcap. Now redcaps, at the best of times, are horrible, spiteful, evil little creatures, but whether due to William's dark spells, or due to his own devious mind, Robert was famed as the most degenerate and bloodthirsty creature the locals had ever heard of. Each night in Hermitage Castle, home of William and Robin, ghastly screams and blood-curdling yells could be heard as the sinister pair pushed each other to think of more depraved and twisted forms of torture and murder. Many of the local farmers would say that the great weight of the sins carried out within that castle were heavy enough to begin to sink the foundations into the earth, as if the very stones themselves were attempting to hide from the eyes of God. William desired the crown of Scotland, but to get this he required more power. He turned to his familiar for help. In return for his goblin magic, Robin would require William's soul and an unending supply of new victims. The terms were quickly agreed, and William was granted arcane protection by the goblin's magic. No lance, spear, or arrow could pierce him, no sword or knife could cut him, and no rope could bind him. Once confronted by the new, invulnerable William, and the increased appetite of Robin, the locals could stand this evil no more. Word was sent to the King of Scotland, Robert the Bruce, who upon hearing the plight of the locals and the treasonous plans of the noble William, set forth with an army to Hermitage Castle. Despite William's inhuman abilities, he was vastly outnumbered and eventually captured, but due to the redcap's magic, no ropes could hold him, so the king's men used lengths of lead and bound the nobleman. There and then the Bruce sentenced William to death for treason. William was taken to a circle of standing stones near Hermitage Castle, called the Nine-Stane Rig. Due to his impervious nature, the king's men threw him into a large cauldron, set it ablaze, and burned him alive along with his lead restraints. The locals returned to normality, but one question was left. Where was Robin the Redcap? He was never found. It is said that the goblin, at the first sign of real trouble, hid within the castle and looted it of any precious material. He apparently amassed quite the treasure hoard, which to this day still lies hidden within the dark bowels of Hermitage Castle, watched by its crimson-hatted collector, waiting for fresh blood. Thank you for listening.